Good evening, everybody. I'm here for Chapter 5. I've got my Society of Obstinate Headstrong Girls t-shirt on, which I think fits Ida, because she might be, bubbly and girly, but she's definitely headstrong, and she's got some, determination. Chapter 5. La Ville Lumiere. You have an excellent nose, Mr. Masterson. A curse, perhaps, more than a blessing. Nick could identify different areas of town by scent alone. Here the smooth glow of the potion lamps gave way to flickering gaslights, the smoky smell of their impure fuel prickling his nostrils. He took a step closer to Miss Strawberries and her exquisite perfume. The Folie Bergère, then? Nick had helped her narrow down her choice of theaters by recommending only those noted for serving potions. She had selected one and seemed determined to stick with it. Quite. The playbill advertised acrobatics and comedic operetta tonight, and the admission is only 2 francs. Her scrupulous budgeting fascinated him. She had recorded every purchase throughout the day in a little notebook, comparing each one to her list of expected expenses. Was money so tight for her? And why? Somehow he had managed to keep to their pact not to pry into her life, though these and so many other questions nagged at him. I must warn you that the entertainment may be bawdy at times, salacious jokes and revealing costumes. Well, of course, this is Paris after all. I expect to see the legs of can-can dancers and hear songs full of inappropriate lyrics. Laughter bubbled up inside him. Right. Carry on, then. A short time later, Nick saw her settled in a seat with a reasonable view, enjoying her wide smile and excited chatter. He placed a glass of champagne in her hand and tipped his hat to her. Enjoy the show, Berries. I will see you at the next intermission. Wait, where are you going? And what did you call me? I have business to attend to, I'm afraid. Business? Here? Indeed. Her night might be nearing its end, but his was just beginning. I will see you shortly. Mr. Masterson? I won't desert you, I promise. Nick strode off, hoping she wouldn't follow. To his relief, she stayed put. She'd insisted on paying her own entrance fee, and he expected she didn't want to waste her 2 francs. While most of the crowd took to their seats to watch the entertainment, he wandered about, noting the frequency of potion use and surveying the bars where the drinks were mixed. He hadn't patronized this particular establishment before, but it was much like other places he had been, full of people who wished to escape reality for an evening. Potion sales were booming. The customers, he noticed, showed a marked preference for certain barmaids over others. Unusual. Any mixer skilled enough to get and keep a job here ought to be able to handle the basic potions most patrons would request. Special requests were handled in a separate location by the more talented girls. Or so it had been the last 3 or 4 times he'd visited Paris. Ilston may have been right to send him here. Things weren't as they should be. Nick waited for a lull in the activity, then approached one of the most popular barmaids. Good evening, monsieur. Would you like a drink? He made a quick perusal of the woman herself. Her dress had a square, low-cut neckline, as expected for anyone in her line of work, but she neither flaunted her figure nor squirmed beneath his gaze. Her posture was confident, her brown eyes intense. A true professional. Yes, please, a stamina potion. Conventional, not amatory. I need to remain alert this evening. Until what time? Nick's brow furrowed. I beg your pardon? Until what time do you wish the potion to last? He had never heard a potion mixer ask such a question. It wasn't uncommon to differentiate a short-duration potion or an all-nighter, but requesting a particular length of time was unheard of. Did this woman really make her potions to such exacting specifications? 4 a.m., his typical bedtime. She looked him over, judging his size and fitness, no doubt. And will you be engaging in any vigorous activities during this time? Not likely. Walking and enjoying the entertainment. He waved a hand at the theater behind him. The barmaid nodded and set to work. He watched her hands as she measured and mixed ingredients with the speed and precision of a true master. Hers was a rare talent. Nick could recall only twice when he'd witnessed similar displays of skill. In seconds his potion was complete, and she held it out to him, a slight smile touching her lips. This woman was justly proud of her abilities. Nick lifted the glass to his nose and sniffed. Beyond the intoxicating scent of serum, he could sense the quality of both the ingredients and the mixing. Perfect. His head swam. Would it taste as good? Would it last, as she claimed, until the requested time? His nose could detect no weakness, no sign that the potions here weren't as strong as ever. Does it meet with your approval? I believe so. I've had trouble of late with potions that lacked their customary potency, but this one smells just right. You'll never find my potions lacking. Confident. He liked that. She had spirit, this woman, despite her miserable job. And the potions of the other girls? I can't speak for them. I do my best. I trust others to do the same. She was undoubtedly the best here. He'd have to compare her potion with potions from some of the other mixers. That would give him a better picture of the situation. He took another sniff of the potion, pulling that sharp, spicy essence deep into his lungs. How much could one tiny sip hurt? It would be useful for comparison. The moment the liquid touched his lips, he knew he'd made a terrible mistake. The craving hit him with all the force of a thunderbolt, burning through his veins to the very marrow of his bones. He downed the entire glass, reveling in the feel of the wild, tangy magic flooding his mouth and coating his throat. Fuck! The potion's effect was immediate. His eyes opened wider, his back straightened. Any lingering exhaustion from the day matching the mad pace of his companion's sightseeing vanished, lost beneath the power of the drug. "Can I get you anything else?" the barmaid asked. "Yes, more, everything." Nick tossed some coins on the bar and staggered backwards. No, nothing. He shoved the empty glass onto a tray of similar ones, hands shaking, mind reeling. What had he done? He pulled out his pocket watch to check the time. The potion-lit numbers mocked him. 0 days, 0 hours, 0 minutes. He stumbled through the music hall, his legs carrying him involuntarily toward another bar. He needed another potion, the sort that made him not care, the sort that made him forget that his father had died and none of Nick's so-called friends understood how much it hurt when they called him by his new title. A potion that blunted the awesome terror of responsibility thrust upon him as a lad of only 19, when he'd become the sole protector of his mother and baby sister. Nick jerked to a halt a few steps short of the bar. Pull yourself together, Masterson. He was no longer a boy, and his sister wasn't a baby. She was married, happily, to a good man. The estate was in capable hands, his investments sound. His mother's future was secure. The only thing he'd fucked up was himself. Nick sucked in a lungful of air and exhaled slowly. He had a task to complete here, something to focus on. These jobs for his uncle had been his escape once, a way to simply be Nick Masterson and leave Lord Sharp behind. Somewhere along the way, they'd lost their appeal. He stepped up to the bar, still feeling the burn of the stamina potion in his veins. He was alert and full of energy. No sense in wasting his time brooding. "Bonsoir, mademoiselle." The barmaid waggled her eyebrows and leaned forward to display her décolletage. "Well, hello, handsome Englishman. My name is Marie. What can I do for you?" "A stamina potion, if you please. Conventional." She grinned up at him as she gathered ingredients. "No plans for a night of amour, monsieur?" "I'm afraid not." "Alas. Well, if you change your mind, you know where to find me." Marie mixed up her potion with the same speed as the expert barmaid and handed it over to him, letting her fingers trail over his. Nick couldn't tell whether she was selling her favors or merely a lusty woman who wanted a romp. He sniffed at the potion, fighting the urge to drink it like he had the last one. "Satisfactory?" "Yes, it's quite good. Excellent, in fact. But not perfect." "Yet you are frowning and not drinking." "I don't want to drink it." The corner of his mouth quirked in a wry smile at the words that were both true and false. He set the potion on the bar, clenching his fists to keep from picking it up again. "I needed it for comparison." Marie's eyes drifted across the room. "My friend Earl will win every time in such a comparison, at least among those with potions knowledge. But I can best the other girls. This potion will serve you well." "I don't doubt it." Nick tossed a few coins on the bar and leaned against it, letting his eyes rove over Marie's pretty petite figure. "Tell me, ma chérie, does everyone flock to you and your friend? You two seem popular." He glanced over his shoulder at the group of men and women hanging behind him, waiting for him to move on. "Which could be due to other factors." His gaze once again dropped to her neckline. "But I think it's your potion skills." Her eyes narrowed. "What do you want, Englishman?" Damn, he was a terrible flirt. Subtlety had never come naturally to him. He tried for honesty and said, "Are potions getting weaker? Are the serum supplies running low?" "My potions are good. I cannot speak for the others." Almost the same reply as her friend. That told him enough. He nodded and straightened up. "Thank you. Have a pleasant night." Nick visited 2 more potion mixers, requesting the same stamina potion and confirming his suspicions. The less popular barmaids served weaker potions. He needed only a single whiff to detect the lack of potency. The potions would work, but not as well, and not as long. They were inferior to what he had encountered on previous visits to Paris. And not because the mixing was done poorly. These women were competent, far better than average. Only the experts could hide the shortage. That wouldn't last if the supply dwindled further. He took a circuitous route back to his neglected seat, steering clear of Elle the barmaid and her exceptional potions. His body still hummed with energy and itched for more. Catching the scent of one of her mixtures might send him over the edge. He sank down beside Miss Strawberry's and allowed himself to check his pocket watch. 0 days, 0 hours, 22 minutes. "What's wrong?" Worried blue eyes looked up at him. "Trouble with your business?" "Of a sort. I think I will manage. A distraction would be welcome." "Distract me. Please, distract me." "Oh, well, the show is quite good. You will enjoy it." He breathed in her fruity scent and smiled at her frilly pink dress. She was his distraction. No singing or dancing needed. She was a feast for his senses. Her rosy cheeks and the light in her eyes provided a soothing balm for the gnawing hunger in his soul. Her musical laughter drowned out the nagging voices in his mind, and her delicious scents made him hungry for something more than oblivion. Would she taste equally divine? How could she not? His cravings remained, and the grief, but she shone through his darkness like a moon on a cloudless night. What the hell would he do when she left Paris? A fleeting acquaintance wasn't good enough. Where was she headed? He had to know. He had to draw this out as long as possible. Had to kiss her to discover if what he suspected was true, that the taste of her surpassed any potion known to man. She giggled at a bawdy joke, and he edged closer, feeling her warmth, bathing in her laughter, filching all he could of her joy. He stayed by her side until well past midnight, when he at last saw her safely to her hotel before returning to his own. Alone in his bed, he stared up at the ceiling, pondering what he had learned and what he still needed to discover, thinking of her, savoring and despising the power of the stamina potion still coursing through him. At 3:59 a.m., Nick Masterson yawned. 1 minute later, he was sound asleep. And for those of you who have read How to Seduce a Spy, you know Elle the barmaid is our heroine in the other book.